There was a time when India and China had same economic growth rate, but from 1990, China started to overtake India and in 2010 become the second largest economy of the world. So how did China do this? And what India and other nation can learn from China? Hello friends and welcome to my new episode of Get to Know. And today you will get to know the top 10 reasons about how China overtook India and became the second largest economy. But before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe this channel and also hit the bell icon as well. Number 1. Stability. There is an old say that if you want to win the game of chess, then play it with one brain and not with 10 brains. And this technique completely applies to China, which has only one party rule across the nation and helps them to implement business strategies and decision making ASAP. Being a single party nation, Chinese government doesn't have to worry about being in power. And by this type of stable government, multinational company can set up and run their business for long term as they have to deal with only one party. Whereas in India, which is the biggest democratic country in the world, has many party rules who always fought each other for power and position, making it difficult to implement any rules and regulation. But if you have good connection, then with some donation, you can grow your business. Number 2. Mass production. In 1991, Indian government had introduced Industrial Policy Act, where the role of the public sector has been redefined to abolish the Monopoly and Restrict Trade Practice Act or the MRTP Act. In its initial phase, it had helped small-scale industry to fulfill market demands. But being a small-scale firm, they were unable to do mass production and were lagging behind to beat with the global brands. Plus the warranty on their product and after-sales service was also not meeting the customer expectation. Whereas in China, by 2010 it was leading the manufacturing industry and most of the item from pin to plane had started to build in bulk production at very cost-effective price. And wherever there is a demand, they then fulfill the supply of the market even beyond their boundaries. These are mostly developing nations of Africa and Asia, where Chinese manufacturers always try to occupy their domestic market and natural resources in exchange to construct their government projects like roads, railways, airports, dams, seaports, power station by providing loans where rate of return are negotiated. Number 3. Cost-effective labor. Both India and China are overcrowded nations, and such nation can have the advantage of cost-effective labor in order to make mass production only if they are skilled. But when we compare the skill of both the nations, we came to know that Chinese people are more productive. This is because in China, skill development has actually enabled, where both private and government firms had worked together to train their workforce. The best example for this is the Beijing Olympic for 2008, where almost 11,000 athletes from 200 nations had participated, making this event a big hit due to their trained workforce. Unlike Commonwealth Games for 2010, where only 5,000 athletes from 71 nations had participated, and where huge scandal was done, due to which India lost the opportunity to show its good picture to the world. Number 4. Global manufacturer. By 1990, China global output value was just 3%, but till 2015, it reached to 23%. Today, China had become a hub of global manufacturing due to its skill development program and now leads manufacture of chemical fertilizer, cement, steel, and coal industry. Almost 70% of air conditioners are now made in China. 80% of mobile and accessories comes from China. 60% of shoes, 70% of solar cells are made in China. And let's not forget its agriculture product, which is a vital industry and also overtaking Indian agriculture product. Here China ranked first in the worldwide farm output, primarily producing rice, wheat, soybean, cotton, tea, milk product and fishing industry as well. Number 5. Reverse engineering. After the fall of USSR due to economic crisis in 1991, most of the skilled engineer, developers and scientists were unemployed or facing shortage of income. In such time, Chinese government approached to them in exchange of employment with handsome salary so that they could train their scientists in order to be self-reliable in every aspect. And as a result, they can now build satellites and has their own space station. They are also self-efficient in modern aviation, high-speed railway, heavy cargo ships building, and let's not forget its Chinese army, where their mostly military hardware is copied or reversed engineered from their Western counterpart, and which are also sales to the allies or the enemies of their enemies. Whereas in India, 70% of military hardware are purchased from other nations, mostly from Russia, America, or other European companies. Number 6. Educations. Today we consider that if a person is able to read and write in any language, then he is educated. But in China, language is just a medium of sharing knowledge. And maybe that's why they have only one language Mandarin across the country, helping them to implement same syllabus in every school and colleges compared to India's many language of every states. On one side, where China is more focusing to provide their students with best management practices, global learning materials, and building new state-of-the-art universities, which is helping them to get evolved. Whereas on the other side, Indian education system has now become commercialized, where a kindergarten student is charged with equivalent fees to that of a college student, and an engineering or MBA student are charged with equivalent to a doctor fees. And for doctor, it's beyond the expectation. And let's not forget the reservation system of seats availability in mostly college, which is a big ongoing discussion in India. Number 7. Infrastructure. There was a time when China held one of the biggest slums in the world and their most cities were undeveloped. But with their improving economy from last 3 decades, a huge amount of money has been flown on their infrastructure to attract the foreign investment and also to create a supply chain in every region by improving their modes of transport, both in terms of road, railways, airport and seaport. And on Beijing Olympic 2008, a massive development was being observed in every host city to show the good picture of China. And tourists were also amazed to see before and after images of every host city. Today, China road network is the second largest in the world with almost 96,000 km of expressway compared to India's 600 km expressway. Nowadays, China has more than 400 airports compared to India's 120 plus airport. Their high-speed railway network is almost 25,000 km and mostly made in China, whereas India's bullet train from Japan is still yet to be built. Number 8. Industrial network. Nowadays, China is building a supply chain cities, that is, bringing all the required item to one city so that a particular product can be made from that one city in large scale. For example, like how Sialkot is famous for making nearly half of the world's soccer balls. Bangalore is the IT hub of India. Detroit is best known as the center of US automobile industry. Similarly, China is also converting its major city to fulfill one common goal. Like Shanghai is also becoming heavy industry in steel maker. Shenzhen is the hub of electronic manufacturing. Qingdao had become a pillar industry for chemical, petrochemicals and biopharmaceuticals. And when such city has the resource to build the complete product entirely, then it is also creating job opportunity for its own people as well. Of course, India had also started these nowadays, where most of the states are promoting their region by building their own special economic zone with better infrastructure and where tax benefits are provided with single window entry facilities, but it will take some time to see the results. Number 9. Power and transport. After the invention of electricity, most of the MNC in 21st century are operating 24/7 in order to increase their production and to sell their product in the market. Fuel price should be maintained in such a way that transportation cost should not fluctuate with the manufacturing cost. In China, electricity is available 24/7 and also cheap, whereas in India, electricity is not available and also expensive. Cost of per kilowatt in China is 3 rupees and in India it's 9 rupees. Whereas for fuel price in China it's $1.14 per liter and in India it's $1.17 per liter. And let's not forget the tax benefit provided to the manufacturer in China, whereas in India it has GST, which is too late to be implemented. Number 10. Mutual understanding. One should understand that if government want, then they could make such type of rules and regulation where both private and government firm can work under one roof. However, in mostly nation, top businessmen always try to make their connection with the government parties in order to run their business and to earn huge profit without getting worried of the market stability. For example, when Jio had launched its free mobile service in 2017, it had shaken the domestic telecom industry in India. At that time, all the major telecom companies had worried to lose their customer with this type of free services. Even the government authority had not think for the goodwill of their own telecom industry before giving permission to such type of free schemes and offer and let their telecom and other private sector to suffer the consequences. Unlike in China, business strategies are made in consideration of both private and government sector. And if there is a conflict on two Chinese firms in same market, then government interfere to resolve the issue to avoid any destability in the market. For example, to promote their own brand Alibaba in e-commerce, they don't allow Amazon in their domestic market. Whereas in India, Flipkart was overtaken by the Walmart. Similarly, China is using their own UC browser, unlike Google Chrome in India. For YouTube, they had created their own version, Youku. World is now using WhatsApp, but in China, they are using their own brand, WeChat. Conclusion. Both India and China are one of the oldest and biggest civilization of mankind and were once ruling the global economy. India, which was the golden bird during Mughal era, had attracted British and other European rulers by its lavish lifestyle, luxurious ornament, huge man-made structure, and food ingredients like black pepper, whereas China had attracted the Western civilization by their various inventions like paper, compass, gunpowder, mechanical watch, and let's not forget their silk, which leads them to create Silk Road in order to connect East and Western nation. And nowadays they are more focusing on their one belt, one road policy to regain their ancient glory. Today, Made in China policy showing its results, whereas Make in India policy had just started. China is using their specialty to become global manufacturer, whereas India can use their specialty to become global service provider, as many Indians are placed in world leading brands like NASA, Microsoft, Google, IBM, and who knows what else. From last 300 years, world is governed by the Western civilization and many new nations were formed with their divide and rule policy, due to which their economy and currency are stronger than last century. Whereas before that, world was quite better to live as they were led by the Eastern civilization. Today is the best time to get united. and BRICS nation is the best example for getting less dependent on Western world. It is not important to ban the Chinese product. What important is to learn from what they had earned. And I hope that the information provided here would be helpful for you to understand where improvement is needed to lead the world economy. Last but not least, thanks for watching this video, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel. Till then, this is Zishan signing off from Get to Know.